happy to have him, but you need to demand more. And I think that we're getting to a place where the community may be ready in some ways to bite back, and I hope that they do, because I don't know why anyone would pay good money to go see this franchise. It's a bad owner, it's a bad GM, it's a neutered coach, they have no stars, and this is what bad franchises look like and feel like, and you are one. And that's bad because you haven't always been that way. Under Paul Allen,
you were great.
You were always going to the playoffs, you were always trying to win. That doesn't mean all the years were great. Certainly the Jailblazers, that was a whole moment in time that was awful. There have been certainly highs and lows here.
But it's been excellent.
But it's been a really good franchise, and one that the NBA can be proud of. It is not that anymore. It has turned into a joke, and Jody is a joke, and it doesn't stop until you call him out on it.
And for me, I guess I agree with everything you said, because it does start at the top. I guess if I'm taking I mean, that's a real 30,000 foot view. I want to zoom in to just like a courtside view, because when I look around the NBA and you think about tanking, right? And why do you tank? What's the only reason you tank, right? Is so that you get
better
picks.
players.
But if you don't hit on draft picks, and by the way, I'm not talking about hitting doubles, because the NBA is littered with teams that hit doubles, and guess where they're at?
The bottom.
The bottom. Go through in the Toronto Raptors, and whether it's OG or Siakam or Scotty Barnes, and then the Wizards and the Hornets and the Pistons. How many years did the Pistons, right, get from Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivory and all these guys, and Sacramento for years and years did this, and you end up with decent players like when they drafted Buddy Hield or Tyreek Evans, and these guys are solid NBA players. And guess what it means? Jackass. The NBA is littered with guys that are like, oh yeah, the guy's like a 16-6 guy.
Yeah, they also took Marvin Bagley when they could have taken Luka Doncic.
Exactly,
so,
and it means
things
nothing.
like that happens.
And my bigger fear in all this, despite what you said, is 100% like, oh crap. It's that right now it feels like when you look at the guys that they tanked for, Shaedon Sharpe, Ant, Scoot, and Klingon's too early, but you knew he was a project, but he can't play 20 minutes. He's not in shape. And maybe he has a Kevin Love resurgence and his body improves and he gets in NBA shape and he ends up being a huge difference maker. But his ceiling was always viewed as what? Just a nice, solid, like role player, not necessarily a star, because the draft didn't have that. But the other players that you brought in that were supposed to be the foundation, boy, they certainly look like a lot of those other guys that end up being also rans on bad teams, or they get traded 5, 6, 7 years down the road and they end up being the fourth best player on a nice contending team. That's my biggest
So
fear.
you want a new GM then? Is that what you're saying?
Either that, or he's got to start finding better drafts, or he's got to start finding a better way to do this. And I get that it's harder than just saying, hey, that's the guy that we need to go get. But ultimately, that is your job. And tell me, I just don't believe that in a rebuild, if you've got Damian Lillard and you've got LaMarcus, fine, hit doubles all you want. What was that, Kevin Pritchard, right? You've got the cake, now you need the icing. But you can't keep drafting icing when you don't have any cake. So yes, ultimately, if you have another year and you miss and you grab another guy that 2 years from now ends up just being another, oh God, he's a solid player but doesn't move the needle, for God's sakes, find someone that can.
Well, that again goes back to Jody, because
Yeah.
she's going to be the one that has to find a new GM. She's the one that hired this guy, and this guy's not respected around the league. So, and he's young, he's very inexperienced. He's clearly not doing a good job. So, you think she's going to go find you the right guy? I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's just,
she eventually has to be. It's just a weird.
it's a rudderless ship, and it's not going to get any better until she sells.
Yeah.
End of story. That really is it.
And the other
Either
problem,
that or they get lucky in the draft.
The other problem, Isaac, I think, is that, like, I agree with the wanting to push back and talk with your wallet, but there are enough cities now that want an NBA team that if you decide you're going to stop showing up, you could be pushing your team out of the city. I think that's unlikely, but we've seen that happen other places where fans get fed up that ownership isn't doing well, and they're like, hey, this other city over here, they don't have a team. They don't care how you run it. They just want something. We'll take it. And so I think it's hard for the fans to, like, demand more, because the only way you can do it is with money, and then you're playing a game that you can't afford to lose.
Well, I think that's, well, I don't think the only way you can do it is with money. I think that the community leaders, season ticket holders, prominent people here can get together and voice their displeasure. I think that could go a long way. And I think that that's already in the works from what I understand. I think that, yes, the average guy, the average Joe could vote with his wallet. And you're right. I think that's a fair thing to say, that fans may be scared that Joe's going to pull him to Seattle or whatever. But I also, I feel like that fear is a little bit overblown around here. I think that the NBA knows how great the Portland market is and has been, and how great the fans have been here for this team and supported this team. And I also think that what happened with the Seattle team, they don't want a repeat of that in the Northwest.
No.
So I get what you're saying about that, but I don't think that's a reason to not hold them accountable, or at least voice your displeasure. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, certainly not to voice it, but yeah.
You really gotta, I don't know. You know, the other thing about this town, there's a lot of prominent big time sports people here.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about Nike, well, just basketball, just keep it to basketball. If you think about the basketball people that are here, whether it be Nike or Adidas, it's a very unique community in that way. There's a lot of actually really influential people here, and the Blazers, they don't tap into that at all.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they alienate them, and this goes back to an absentee owner.
Yeah.
So it's a mess. It really is.
Yeah. And
it's an absolute mess.
And it's sad because
it is. The fans are great here.
It should be a cornerstone of the city.
Yep.
It's just,
and and somebody else told me this the other day, and they were so right. This was a business owner in town said, the Blazers are such a big part of our community, and there is such bad crap going on here, and has been for 5 years. The one thing that we could always count on, for the most part, was the Blazers lifting us up when we're going through some crap. Well, now they suck. Now they have piled onto this Portland sucks and will never get better, and there's all these problems. And they have I don't know about civic duty, but the Blazers should be a pillar of the community to help lift people up and bring people together. Yeah. And it's not doing that anymore. No. And so what is it good for? It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
I guess hope.
Keep hoping.
Yeah.
Keep hoping with this owner.
Capture
but we'll
the
see.
Flag, right? I mean, maybe that one guy.
Yeah, if you get lucky in the draft.
But even then, that's a ping
yeah,
pong
flags.
But
think about how close you were to Wemby.
Yeah, but look at Wemby. I mean, Wemby is in San Antonio, and he's going to be dynamite. Already is.
But it's not yet.
And he has a Hall of Fame coach. I know he's sick right now, and they're not any good.
No.
You know, so this takes that's what's scary about this is like nobody sees any light at the end of the tunnel. It's a long ass way off, and it's just like
Cooper Flag doesn't turn this around in a year.
And if I'm Chauncey, I'm bailing.
Well, he tried.
I'm out of here.
He tried.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at the end of the year, he's gone. They didn't extend him anyway. I'm going to a better.
And I do. I feel bad for him because that's not what he signed up for.
I'm going to a better organization. All right, our college football temper.